Good morning, guys. I want to talk to you this week about what happens when things go wrong with a client, because trust me, it happens all the time. And this week, unfortunately, it happened to me. So let me explain. To put things into context briefly, and apologies, by the way, I look like I've been smacked by something and I've just got out of the shower and my hair's all wet and I've got no makeup on and my voice is a little bit funny, but we move. I had to speak to the camera this morning and kick things off because, like I say, it's unfortunately a little bit relevant, very relevant, and that's why I wanted to have a chat about it on this week's vlog, because it's one of those, how do I deal with things in real time as they happen? Over the past however long I've been doing this, there's been a lot of good news and that's been amazing, and I've been so fortunate in that regard that I've been lucky enough to have a lot of wins, a lot of client upsells, a lot of happiness in terms of like clients and stuff like that. However, it does happen, and when it does happen, it makes you feel terrible. And I'm sure that for some people, and maybe one day I'll get there, but I've always hated it. I'm a classic chronic people pleaser, which needs to change. Obviously, if I'm going to continue being a business owner, which is the game plan, that I'm going to need at some point to grow a bit of a backbone and not get too affected by this sort of stress. So, like I say, without going into too much detail, because I don't want to name the client, I don't want to name too much of the situation, but it's just a little bit of like a background. I was at a wedding on Friday, and about 5 o'clock, I think it was. Unfortunately, I keep saying unfortunately in this vlog, but I checked my phone and I checked my emails and I had a bad email from a client. And when this happens, like I say, your heart just sinks, your stomach drops, and you think, what the hell can I do in this specific situation to make this better? The good news for me at this is because normally I would panic and I would jump on things quite quickly. It wasn't something, just to clarify, it wasn't something that was urgent that needed jumping on like right there and then. If it was, obviously that would have been dealt with, but it was more just like a general thing. So it was almost a blessing. I think, well, it definitely was a blessing that I couldn't jump on it there and then, because I think I just would have panicked and just got back with something as quick as possible. But being at this wedding on Friday and then out again on Saturday all day for sort of part 2 of the wedding, all I could do was think, and I got myself into a little bit of a, I don't want to say state, but I got myself a little bit worked up about it. I was overthinking about it all weekend, which was not ideal because of the situation that I was in. I was around loads of friends. Like I say, it was one of my best friend's weddings, so I wanted to make sure that I was present there, and I always preach that, but it was just, yeah, like I say, it was just bad timing, and that can't be helped. Obviously, the client doesn't know that, I was at a wedding or out, and, you know, it's completely fair enough and completely justified what happened. Once again, it's weird when you can't go into it, but that's fine, and probably annoying for you, but whatever. So after thinking about it all weekend, I was like, I need to jump on this prior to Monday. So today, the day that I'm speaking to you is Monday. The email came through on Friday, panic on Friday night, panic on Saturday. And then I was like, I need to get over a good email on Sunday, which basically encourages a meeting of sorts. Because for me personally, if there's like a long email sent over and there's little granular bits that you need to go back to, instead of making it, because it can get very like sort of, I think in service-based industries, it can get very tit for tat. If someone says, and I'm not saying that this happened, by the way, but like it has happened before. If someone says, oh, you haven't done this, but you have done it, and you could literally go back and be like, right, bullet point 1, you didn't do this. Yes, we did it on this date. Bullet point 2, blah, blah, blah. And you're just sort of going back in that granular detail. Whereas if you can get there in person, or if you can jump on a call, if that's the quickest thing to do, then do it, because you'll be able to actually chat it through. People obviously tend to be a little bit, the defenses are a little bit down when you're in person or via video call. And yeah, you can chat about it from both sides and make sure that you come up with a resolution that suits everyone, because that's the main thing. I think it's important not to get defensive. It's important to, like I say, think about it and actually say, right, what what are we or what am I doing wrong, and fix it as quickly as humanly possible. So that's what the game plan is. I think it's important just to say that this is so normal. This is not like a brand new thing, especially once again in service-based industries. You're always going to have different clients, different problems that come up as well. Sometimes it can be, I've had it before where like one particular client, things will just keep going wrong for no reason. It will just keep going wrong. And I'm like, there's nothing I can do here. It's not necessarily anyone's fault, but I will take the blame, or if it is my fault, then whatever, or if it's a team member's fault, then it's my fault. Sometimes you just can't help that. It happens in small businesses, it happens in huge businesses, it happens all over. So it's just, I just wanted to say that if you are going through this right now, you're not alone. If you're starting out and it's one of your first couple of clients, then it can feel very, very overwhelming. But I promise you that it will get better. And this is the framework that I follow to make sure that I keep my head straight. Like I say, I lost my head a little bit over the weekend, but that I keep my head straight and that we end up resolving it rather than causing any more any more stress, and ideally keeping clients on. But obviously if clients ever want to leave, then they are more than welcome to. So it's just about finding the right balance. But anyway, this is my very simple framework to make sure that you can handle these sorts of situations effectively. First thing is, do not panic. Acknowledge that you feel stressed. Acknowledge that that is incredibly normal. But don't go into huge panic mode, because you'll end up making rash decisions. And that's the last thing that you want to be doing at this point. I would encourage you to talk about it. If you've got a partner, if you've got a friend that will understand, a family member, something like that, speak about it, because it's always good to get out your issues in your own head, because sometimes you can just circle on it for ages, and you can either talk yourself out of it or come up with a solution by talking about it, or they can give you really good insight and actionable steps to take that will help you to move forward from this. After you've spoken about it and sort of figured it out, you want to then break it down into small solvable parts. So it's very easy to just think of everything as like one big clump. And then that's when things go crazy, because your mind just can't compartmentalize and you can't figure it out, and everything just seems a bit too much. Whereas if you split it out into the granular details, you can make sure that you are dealing with things step by step, and once again, in the best way possible. How I break things down in small pieces is I literally, on the notes app on my phone, I just write bullet points on there and check things off as I go. Just to, once again, get things out of my head. If you've got a notebook, if you prefer to do that, then write it down on a notebook. But either way, just get any sort of thoughts, any sort of actionable things out in your head, so that when you actually sit down to do it, because especially if you're out and about, or if you can't do it right there and then, you want to make sure that when you're thinking clearly and when you're speaking about it or coming up with an idea, that you're getting those ideas then, so that when you revisit it, when you're actually sat at your laptop, you can go back to it effectively. A side note on that, a lot of people would have potentially gone back on their phones, because obviously we're contactable via our phone. That's how I see these emails. I would advise against. Unless once again you needed to do it there and then, or you needed to go back and say, right, can you talk to this person about it or whatever. But maybe just for me, but I tend to, when I'm sat at my desk, think clearer. I'm in work mode, so even if that's on a Sunday night but I'm sat at my desk, I'm in work mode still, so I can switch into that mindset and make sure that I'm not reacting on any sort of emotion. I'm reacting logically and going back once again to the client effectively. If a client has phoned, left a message or sent an email or anything like that, normally there will be a first piece that you need to address first, right? So they might have sent a long email detailing all the things that have gone wrong, or all the things that you haven't done, or anything that they're unhappy about. There's always one piece that has triggered it off, and I think that it's worth identifying that piece that has really got to them, because that's normally the bit that will push them over the edge, and make sure that you are responding to that as quickly as possible. So even if it's the weekend, you've taken a couple of days to reply, if you reply on the Sunday, make sure that within that email back, even if you are trying to get on a call, which like I say I still reference the main point that they were annoyed about. And finally, there's always a way out. So there is always a solution to the problem. As I said earlier, some clients will come and they will go. And that is a sad part about being in an agency, because ideally you just keep clients forever. That's kind of like the dream. You just have them on forever and ever and ever. But the more that you go on in this, and like I say, when it's your first or second client, this is demoralizing and you think that you'll never be able to do it. However, I don't know how many clients I've looked after over the years, whether working for someone else or working for myself, but it is a lot. But I have been consistently shown that clients stay for years, and there's many clients that have been with us and my previous agency where I was a senior account manager or account director, I can't remember now, it feels like ages ago, it was only last year, that the clients stay on and they will stay on forever. And some clients come on and they'll stay for a few months and then they'll go. Other clients come on and they'll stay with you for years. You don't really know how it's going to go. It depends on what you've sold into them. It depends on, linked to that, it depends on the dream that you've sold into them. And the actual output that you've given relates to what they're expecting. I think setting expectations, it's for a different video, but setting expectations is one of the biggest things in client proposals that you can do. If you're the one delivering the, once again, I'll talk about this in more depth, but if you're the one that's delivering the marketing activity, do not let a salesperson go in there without previously seeing what they're going to propose, because you're going to have to deliver it. If it doesn't fit what you think would suit them or what you're capable of, then you're screwed, because what are you going to do then? You're just fighting an uphill battle at that point. But yeah, anyway, moving on. There's always a way out. So it'll either get resolved, they will leave, they will stay. Maybe they could stay for a few months. You can offer them things. Also as well, it's good to weigh up that, make sure that you know who is to accept the responsibility. If a client is saying to you something that you really don't agree with, you don't have to say sorry. You don't have to try and make it right with them. It just depends on that specific client, and it depends on you. For me, this is worth fighting for, but for you, it might not be a client that's worth fighting for. And I have had clients previously that have not been worth fighting for, and we've just gone, yep, that's fine, no problem. Sorry, it didn't work out. Hopefully we'll speak to you in the future. And then we've just gone our separate ways, and that's been absolutely fine. So yeah, there's always an ending, so don't panic. Break things down. There's always going to be an ending of sorts, and it will work out, and the stress will just disappear. This is what I'm telling myself now. Like I say, it's Monday morning, got the email on Friday, went back last night, and I'm waiting for a response. So the stress will heighten again, but right now, this is where I'm at. And I will take you on the journey as things progress. But it is important to note that this week is also another busy week, because where there's negatives, there's definitely positives. I've got a client proposal going out this morning. I'm just getting someone to check over it to make sure that they're happy. I've got a call with a prospect client this morning, and we've got a couple more things coming up this week, but I can't remember because I'm just focused on today right now. So in short, whilst all the stress is happening, nothing else stopped. I'll show you what my week looks like from Monday to Friday, and hopefully when we get to Friday, this issue would have been resolved, and maybe, you never know, might have one, maybe two new clients. Who knows? So I will catch you later on. Stuff, and then I'll sort of see how it can like intertwine as well, because obviously it is within the marketing realm, but it's more very specifically based on e-com and scaling that using systems that obviously you've proved that can be done before. So yeah, it'll be good to sort of see how that can integrate a little bit more. What a day. It's still Monday, guys. I never vlog this much on one particular day, but it's 2:24 in the afternoon, so it's not even been the full day, but I have been for a run, which is amazing. I literally just went to the gym and did a little 3k run. to try and get away from the computer for a little bit and from my emails, etc. I literally just put music on and ran. And then I came back and I've sent off a proposal to someone that I had a call with on Friday. So we'll see what they come back with. And I've just had sign off on a really exciting client, the one that I've been working on for a little while. But I'm not going to say too much yet because I need to send over contracts and stuff like that. And I'd never like to, I think the phrase is count my chickens, I think. So I will send over the contract, and when they sign, I can potentially speak a little bit more about it. But it's gone from being stressful. Well, I mean, I'm still frantic and still a little bit stressed, but it's gone from being a stressful morning to quite a successful day in the end. So yeah, happy Monday. I have got a couple more meetings later and I will check in if I hear back from my proposal, which I doubt I will do today, give them time to look through it. However, I will obviously keep you updated and see what happens. Good morning, guys. It's now Thursday. I'm not going to lie, the past 2 days I've been in some sort of a weird hole. I think damage control, obviously, to this client, setting up new clients, other client work going on. It's just been a lot for me to try and like mentally figure out. So I've been in a little bit of a, I don't know what the word is. It's I guess I'm just like, I feel super anxious, I guess, is probably the way to put it. My body seems to be like constantly on a bit of like a high alert, which is not great, but I've got a good amount of work done this week so far and I feel like everything's starting to take shape. I also, the other day, I decided that I was going to start doing a 6-day week. So, sorry, my voice is like crazy. I'm just going to have a bit of my drink. Also, as if I wasn't anxious enough already, I'm literally going to down a Red Bull on my way to a client meeting, which I'll chat about in a minute. 6-day week. So yeah, I decided that I was going to start doing a 6-day week, and this isn't because of hustle culture or I feel like I need to because there's just so much work and I'm drowning in work. It's literally like mentally. So like if I take 2 days away, I'm like, I need to get back to it and I'll just worry about it all day on Sunday or all day on Saturday. But knowing that I'm going to be able to have all day on Saturday just to myself, to do whatever I want to do, and then Sunday, and when I say 6-day week, I'm going to do like minimum of like an hour work, maximum of like a full day's work, but like it's not going to be a full day every day every week, so like that will be absolutely fine. But yeah, just mentally I think it'll be better even in the interim, just to keep my head screwed on a little bit more. This is kind of just the reality of like trying to take it all on. I think year one was like there was money coming in, I could do it all, I was happy, like it was just like really easy. But I was like, no, I don't need to be in a position where I'm just trading my time for money, which is what I've spoken about before. So now is like trying to build, but I'm sort of at that eek point, I don't know whether that's the thing, where I'm taking on more than potentially I can do. So I'm just trying to balance that out at the moment. But anyway, I am now on my way to the client that I spoke about the other day, and just to discuss sort of moving forward. They are moving forward, but we just need to discuss sort of what that looks like and make sure that we have clear KPIs set for the next few months so that we can accurately hit them and they can be like, yes, this is exactly what we set out and this is exactly what you did. So that's the plan. I will jump on here afterwards to check in, but yeah, let's see how we get on. I will chat to you later. And breathe. I am home. It went well, to be fair. I can't really complain. Was there for just over an hour talking through what the next few months look like, as I've said before. And I think everyone's on the same page and everyone is on board. So it was good. I think, you know, when you like work yourself up a little bit beforehand and you're like, get stressed about it. And now, like, it's only 12 o'clock or 12 o'clock on the dot and I feel shattered. So I need to regroup. I got a busy afternoon of work. I got another meeting later, but luckily on the computer, so that's good. But yeah, so that went well. And it's interesting because I think that I've explained before, but for new viewers or people with whatever, I sort of have different arms of the business. So I have a B2B side and then a B2C, hospitality, like that sort of thing. So most of my clients at the moment sit in B2B, and so most of my day-to-day talking is about specific industries, and they can seem quite niche to sort of an outside audience because obviously it's B2B, so it's very different. It's very, I don't want to say boring, but sometimes it can be, or it's confusing, I think is the word, confusing. So a lot of my conversations day to day are that. And then now I'm literally voice noting a client because the new client that we won that I've spoken about is actually a wine brand. Once again, we'll talk about names another time, but it's a wine company, which is so cool. But another client of mine is a super yacht broker. So I'd said to the wine company during pitch, oh, hey, it might be a good opportunity. Can't promise anything, but obviously there's yacht photography that gets done. So why don't we try and sort of piece it together so that your wine can be on board when a photography session is happening, and then you can get those images, and it will, they normally include sort of either wine or glasses, whatever, in these lifestyle sort of yacht photos. So it doesn't really change anything for them, but it just might help the wine company. Anyway, so I messaged my super yacht contact and I said, because I'd previously spoken to them about it just to see if it was a possibility before I start saying that it is when it's not. And before they'd said, yep. So I messaged the super yacht client and said, you know, this wine company signed off, let me know if there's any opportunities. And they said, how quickly can you get product to the south of France? And I was like, okay. So right now I'm having conversations with the new wine company to see how quickly they can get their product to the south of France, because the super yacht client is going to be at Monaco Yacht Show. So yeah, that's kind of in the background of the day, aside from desk work. So I'm having lots of exciting conversations. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be in Monaco, but that would be quite nice. I could be, but I'm just blabbing. So I'm going to wrap this clip up because you probably had enough of me chatting away. So I am literally going to sit at my desk for the rest of the afternoon, crack on with a bunch of work, have my meeting later, and that's probably about it for my day. So I think I'll check out Thursday, and then I'm up early in the morning because we are going to drive down to a place called Seaford, which is near Brighton, and I'll be working there for the day, spending the day there. And it's going to be nice and sunny tomorrow, which is crazy because right now I'm looking outside the window and it's very, very grey and horrible. So I'm hoping that it's sunny. It'll be a nice drive down. So I will check in with you in the morning. Good morning. It is now Saturday because yesterday we didn't actually end up going to Seaford. There was just too much to do in terms of like laptop stuff. So it didn't really make sense to just go somewhere else to be on laptop, and I have meetings and stuff like that. So it didn't work out. I think it's a good thing because it was sort of like a hard cut on Friday. So like Friday, work finished, laptop down, and I just felt a little bit better. Like I say, I will do some work tomorrow on Sunday, but for the time being, it's Saturday. I am heading to Reformer Pilates, which I'm looking forward to because I think I've mentioned before, we've been doing Pilates every week, but like floor Pilates, and this is Reformer, and I've only ever done Reformer once. That was at One Rebel in Kensington, I think it was, which was amazing, but it was years ago now, so gonna give that a go and hope for the best. Grab a coffee, then it's just a bit of a back-to-back day of seeing friends and stuff like that, so I'm looking forward to it. It'll be nice and chilled, and then I think aside from working, we might go to Seaford tomorrow, so I will catch in with you later. Good morning, everyone. Actually, I think it's afternoon now. It's Sunday afternoon. Sorry, basically the end of this week has gone a bit crazy because we actually got our sort of provisional completion date in. So it's been a lot to do with a house, sorting out obviously work, as you know, and just, yeah, there's been a lot going on. So it's been a little bit higgledy-piggledy, so to speak. But we are currently in Seaford, just visiting some family just for the day. And yeah, I just wanted to close up and say thank you so much for watching. Hopefully next week is a little bit less stressful. I think I'm going into this week feeling a little bit better, especially compared to last week. So it's another busy one, but hopefully things will be a little bit more back on track, and I will keep you posted on everything as always. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I will close out this vlog now. I literally, normally as well, during the week I like put it together and then like start editing things, so then I can sort of see where I am, and I haven't even looked at any of the footage that I've done this week so far. So when I come to edit, I'll see what I can pull of it. But yeah, thank you so much, and I will catch you next week. See you later.